Welcome to Babbling Zoom. Yeah, just works. Um, I kind of want to do like a whole thing about Dune real quick. Um, I finished watching the new one a few days ago. Um, and well, first, my introduction to Dune started when I was a kid. Um, and the movie came out. I think on TV, not in theaters. I was probably too young, and my mom probably didn't understand all the stuff. But what ended up happening was I started watching it on TV, and the crazy designs that David Lynch did captivated me. I was generally hooked to the screen. It was amazing. I love the character designs. I love the wielding module voice things that obviously is not in the book that I found out later. But also I love this thing, and every time it came on TV, I watched it. Once I realized there were longer versions of it, I just tried to watch every single one of them. And it was I loved every bit of it. The world's amazing. Eventually, I finally picked up the book and started reading it. And going into the book, I knew by this point uh, the things that weren't supposed to be there, the things that weren't supposed to be shown. But in the end, as much as everyone hated the '84 film for what it didn't do or for what it added, the more I kind of liked it because it somehow kept the same subtle aesthetics of how Herbert wrote. I mean, no, I know he hates the movie. I heard that he did not like the movie at all. But for me, I felt that the voiceover really kind of lent to his unorthodox way of writing a third person story. Um, so I was anticipating the new movie after learning about Villeneuve, David Villeneuve. I'm going to screw up his name. Once I realized he was sticking with the Lynch's aesthetics as opposed to the sci-fi version where it was just like all over the place. It was bad. Um, I was happy. I was ecstatic. I knew they were going to add new things. I knew this was going to be broken into two parts. I actually knew before going in. Uh, I obsessed about it so much that I looked it up. Um, so I finally got to watch it. I was like, yes, finally. Sat down, boomed the music. Actually, somehow managed to miss multiple things, especially two random showers that can't pass by. I didn't notice any of that. It was kind of funny. Um, and then 2 hours and 30 minutes later, I sat back and I was like, huh, that was visually amazing. Sound design, amazing. But I felt it missed something. And now I know Dune fans are going to be freaking out over the place, and you're like, "Oh my god, it was the most perfect movie ever! It was amazing! It was the greatest thing ever!" But there was something that it took like as much as it put in that was needed to understand the world itself. It also took away a lot of what was good about the first movie. So let me switch over. Possible spoilers, by the way. I'm gonna try not to. I really try not to. I think everyone should watch it and enjoy it, but I'm gonna try not to spoil this thing. Screen. All right. So there's something I like about the new one. The new one captured the ships, the world, the cinematography, the colors. It was beautiful. But what it tended to do was Villeneuve, his approach was to keep some of the subtle mysteries in the background. It was very focused on Paul and House Atreides more than anything else. So much so that Baron Harkonnen and even other characters, again, I'm trying not to keep it, there are other characters that didn't get enough screen time, and it was like a passing thought, is the best way of putting it. They were so big on trying to get the Baron and a few extra stuff that like popped up in the 84 film out of it, that there wasn't enough left for the main character, for the villain, to feed off of. Like, it was kind of, there's the Baron, there's some dark lighting, done. There's the Baron, there's some stuff, done. You didn't get a chance to like feed into it, like, I think there are times whenever you watch the Baron, it was like barely a few minutes, like a minute or two of the Baron, and he was gone like that. And that's where a lot of it hurt the movie. If anyone's ever seen the old movie, the 84 movie, their take on the Baron is over the top villainous, but I think all of 84 is like over the top as much as possible. And I was watching a review from Angry Joe, and he says to his girlfriend, said it best, it's more theatrical. It's over the top, theatrical, passionate, as opposed to the new one is very subdued movie quality, right? One is theater, the other one is standard action movie, which is great. Don't get me wrong, it's really good. Where it fails and where the 84 film succeeds is it right off the bat, like I said, the new movie tries to keep things and keep you focused so much on Paul and his family, that when the one thing happens, I'll call it a twist. When the one twist happens, it's not actually much of a payoff, because that one twist focuses so heavily on key characters, and this movie doesn't even give those guys the light of day. A standard payoff is like, for a twist, is you have to know all of the characters that are involved in this, and the fact that this kind of omits a few of these characters and gives more time for other characters totally messes up the entire movie, like totally messes it up. So when it happens, it's like, okay, all right, so that happened, fine, cool. Meanwhile, the 84 version, the problem with the 84 version is it doesn't give you a chance to actually, like, there's no, like, it doesn't give you a chance to set up a twist, because in the very beginning they kind of just lay it out for you on the table. But in doing so, it also knows how to balance all the characters. Yes, the Baron is over the top, but at least you get some time to mull on it. He's stuck in your head because he's done so much messed up, nasty stuff that you can't let it go. You can't let the boils on his face go, or his like weird ways he caresses people. It's just out there. So he's stuck in your head. Also, there's more characters to stew on, because they let them stay and actually stay and act. So it stays there with you. You know these characters. So when the twist happens, not only do you know the twist, because, well, they kind of set it up slowly in the beginning, but there's more impact because now you get to stew with those characters as well. They give enough time just to show the after effect of what happened. Now, the problem with the old Dune movie is the fact that they tried to squeeze in a whole lot of movie into 2 hours and 16 minutes, 15 minutes shorter than what Dune Part 1 is. So you can see there's a lot of things cut out, tons of things. So the new version definitely does better when it comes to laying out everything. But again, it sacrifices a chance to hang out with characters longer, so digest it into you in your brain. In a way, the best way of putting it is the old Dune played a sloppy game of chess. There are multi-levels. There are levels, quoting the movie, plans within plans. And it allows you to see it all. You're just watching the game. While the new Dune is a beautiful game of checkers, because he's not willing to show you everything. It's very simple by the numbers, move, 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 move. So much so that you don't have enough time to understand the pieces. They're just kind of characters, not roles. Now, there's a moment in this movie, because you're so focused on the main characters, House Atreides in the new movie. The biggest problem is the fact that you don't get to see, you hear of characters, but you don't get enough, again, time to digest all these characters. So both saying it in passing and not even showing them at all limits the gravity of how big the layers of the universe is. The Emperor, all the houses, the guilds, everything. You don't really understand the true gravity of what Dune is all about. Arrakis, the planet itself. What could have fixed it? I'm going to bring this up. What could have fixed this movie, right, is one scene that both movies never tried to add. And that is the banquet scene. Both movies didn't even, like, especially the first one. The new movie, sorry. The new movie had its moment where you're trying your hardest to understand. Like, they're trying to do this pageantry and stuff of envoys and armies and everything else. That's great. And tons of visions that could have just been cut down a little bit more to fit this one particular scene. If you never read the books, there's a moment in the scene, and I'm gonna two pictures I put up is one of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and the banquet scene from the sci-fi TV series. These two things are kind of similar in nature. It shows you the difference in class. It's also the time when you meet I think meet Liet Kynes, and you understand the entire universe as they sit down to eat together. This is where all the rich merchants come to congratulate Duke Leto's acquisition of the planet Dune, of the planet Arrakis. And this is where you could see the differences between how the houses, guilds, and everyone else see the planet while talking, and how Duke Leto truly breaks the conditioning and the rules and all the things that were already established by House of Conan. Conan? whatever. um, by bucking the trend and caring more for the people. It also does one extra thing that is mentioned in the new movie. It introduces you to the Emperor's daughter. It is a scene where the Emperor can't show up, but the Emperor's daughter shows up to see how everything's going, kind of like a spy. They sit at dinner. Everyone does the cordial thing of eating. And then after the fact, Paul goes off to hang out with Gurney, where we finally get to hear Gurney play. Something I wish. Let me see if we grab that. I have to cut it. Have to stop. Yeah, stopped it. Yeah. So this is one of those things where it's like this one little moment showing how Gurney hates the stuff, hates these parties, how Duke Leto sees the transition of Dune from cruel ruler to just ruler, and also introduces you the empress to the Emperor's daughter, right? And doing that later in the movie, when Paul says something, there's gravity to it because you've met everyone. You understand now in this one dinner scene how the world thinks outside of this desert planet. You understand simply how everyone sees, how the elite sees the poor. Right? But sadly, it was never added. Now, but I want to ask, this movie's going to come out. So hopefully, I don't think he's going to be able to hear this. I don't think I'm not that popular enough to reach out to anyone, to get to anyone. But hey, David, David, Velavon, no, you say your name so fast I can't understand. I think that taking the time to make this one scene and adding it in an extended version, yes, I'm perfectly fine with sitting for a 3 hour, like it's only like a few minutes. So I'm okay with just that little bit added to this movie. Just for that moment. That's it. 5 minutes. Just a 5 minute scene of just the party, the introduction to all the characters, to all like the bigger world as a whole. And watching Gurney play. That's it. I mean, you could make a Indiana Jones nod too and have chilled monkey brains. I don't care. All right. But hey, that's my thought. How's the movie? Great. Should you go watch it? Awesome. Yes, please. But I would say if you feel slightly confused or slightly nostalgic, then after watching this, do what I did and then watch this. And surprisingly, together, They kind of give you an understanding of really what Dune is all about. Or you can read the book. I won't say watch the sci-fi show. That's really bad. Not bad, good, like the 84 version, but just bad. But all right. See you. I can pause this. All right. I'll see you.